Settle down, brother. This is the Quarter Report powered by ENC.com. South Africa is a movie. Welcome to the watch party. Does Brown Mogotsi have a humiliation kink? Like, is this... It has the last 2 days... The only way I can explain it is it has to be turning him on. It feels indecent for us to be watching the level to which this man is being indecently exposed by a variety, let's say a plethora of members of the Madlanga Commission, including Madlanga and Beloy, but particularly evidence leader Matthew Chaskalson. Yesterday was a humiliation where he was basically told, we think that you're a professional liar and we can't trust anything that you say and you don't respect anything under oath. And today, Thursday, the 20th of November, the debasing, debunking, and absolute destruction has continued. So today we're going to work through the biggest part of Chaskalson's cross-examination and questioning of Brown Mogotsi, which has included the direct quote, "What you just said is transparently false," but particularly around Brown Mogotsi's messaging on Signal to then not suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu and almost inevitably convicted now entrepreneur Kat Matlala. And maybe the biggest humiliation so far today for humiliation kink clown Mogotsi is that Chaskalson made the joke, were you trying to give the police minister a Christmas present? And Brown Mogotsi's lawyers laughed. Do you know how terrible it is when your lawyers on your team are laughing at the joke of the evidence leader who is brutalizing you through lines of questioning? The only place to watch the full show is on ENC.com. The link is in the description. On YouTube if you're watching. If you're there, give us a like and a subscribe. There's another link to our merchandise, www.3beaniesnetwork.com. Follow us on our WhatsApp channel. Search 3 Beanies Network, w/Dan Corder. James, what in the mother of is going on?
With relation to Mogotsi, I want to say well done. Well done.
Okay.
Because he has been so thoroughly cooked. He is not rare. He is not medium rare. He is well done.
Let's briefly talk about what was covered yesterday. So, couple of top-line headlines. Chaskalson called Clown Mogotsi a professional liar, and Clown Mogotsi was basically like, how dare you? And Chaskalson said, didn't you just tell us for a whole day that you lied to criminals to convince them you were criminals? You lied to politicians and policemen to get your way. You're a professional liar, aren't you? And Clown Mogotsi got like touched about that because he was like, yesterday I said that my job is to build a legend of myself to convince criminals that I'm like that. And Chaskalson said, yeah, but you also told us Mchunu is a CIA agent without evidence, and you also told us that your handler was this lieutenant general, but that person's been deceased now, has passed for like longer than 4 years, and you've got no other evidence to back that up. And you've also said things that are pretty clearly patently false, or at least you would have to provide such good evidence to counter the evidence that already exists, and you haven't done that. So it does seem like we can't trust anything you say. The one thing in particular he talks about, because it turns out Clown Mogotsi revealed to us why he thinks the CIA cares about King Misuzulu Kazwelethini and General Mchunu. It's because apparently they're part of a geopolitical battle over coal in Richards Bay, and allegedly the Israelis like have vested coal interests in the port or the harbor of Richards Bay. And then Chaskalson was like, there is no coal mine in Richards Bay. And Mogotsi was like, yeah, it is actually in Mpumalanga. And then Chaskalson said, because Mogotsi claimed that the Israeli government owns some of the portion of this coal, and Chaskalson was like, that's completely fanciful, like that would not happen, because, or like that is just fantastical, because Mogotsi says that they were worried, the Israelis and the West, that the coal terminal in Richards Bay would be shut down, and so the Israelis wouldn't be getting their portion of the coal, when actually the South African government has spent hundreds of millions of rands improving the rail route to the terminal in Richards Bay. And Chaskalson just said, if you were really genuinely, sincerely investigating Mchunu, you would have immediately figured this out through quote, a basic internet search. In fact, Chaskalson said that the fact that Mogotsi didn't take 5 minutes to Google, quote, suggests that you weren't actually investigating these allegations against Mchunu. And Mogotsi responded by saying that the kind of investigations he's involved in, you don't go to the internet. Okay, cool. So you've just said, we don't do facts where I come from. In my line of work, we're not interested in facts at all. Okay, so we're going to keep working through this chronologically. Remember, Brown Mogotsi claimed that Kat Matlala had paid bribes of millions of rands to Bheki Cele, 2 million, and Bheki Cele wanted another 8 million, and 5 million to Fani Masemola, and wanted another 25 million. And Chaskalson said, do you have evidence? And Clan Mogotsi said no. And so Chaskalson said, oh, but like you've been WhatsApping Kat Matlala all this time, and repeatedly in these WhatsApps, Kat Matlala talks about the fact that he's keen, willing, and able to bribe senior police officials. If that's the case, then why aren't there any WhatsApps of Kat Matlala saying he was willing to bribe Bheki Cele and Fani Masemola? Why wouldn't that happen? And Mogotsi said, no, those WhatsApps were deleted. So not all these other WhatsApps where Kat Matlala is professing to being keen to bribe senior police officials, just the ones where he said that I wanted to bribe Masemola and Bheki Cele. It is crazy. It is so crazy. Then Chaskalson has got nothing to offer anymore. Then Chaskalson is like, so what's your connection with Police Minister Senzo Mchunu? Why? Like, what's your connection? And Clan Mogotsi said that he ran Senzo Mchunu's branding campaign in Northwest. And Chaskalson said, then why did Mchunu deny knowing you? And why did Mchunu say that like he didn't recognize him in that now infamous parliamentary committee meeting? And Mogotsi says, I don't know. I don't know why he said that. This guy. Then, because remember, okay, something that we forgot to cover. Sorry, James is getting an aneurysm and a headache and a hernia in front of me. Then something that we forgot to say in the 10 things, or we didn't have time to say, that Brown Mogotsi said yesterday, was that he said that Kat Matlala was John Wick. Now, if you don't know John Wick, that's a movie reference to a famous action hero performed by, I think, Keanu Reeves. I know one thing about movies. One thing. And so there's this really infamous shadowy, dodgy drug lord criminal, as Karen Morn describes him, shadowy drug lord and underworld figure known as John Wick. And Mogotsi said yesterday that Kat Matlala was John Wick. 2 days ago. Yesterday he said, no, he wasn't. He wasn't John Wick anymore. And that was mainly because Brown Mogotsi asked him for legal advice, apparently. This is all absolutely beyond. And then Chaskalson said, you lie is your job. And then Chaskalson said, did you lie to Kat Matlala? Which, according to Mogotsi's story, he did, because Mogotsi was pretending to be a criminal or whatever. And then Mogotsi said, I'm not a professional liar. And he said, agents should never lie under oath. He said, agents should never lie under oath. And then Chaskalson said, but you did lie when you were applying for a warrant to record a conversation with an alleged informant. You claimed that you were employed in the office of the police minister. Is that true? And Mogotsi said, quote, it's not true. So he admitted that he lied under oath. And then Madlanga said, an oath is literally meaningless to you. I have no reason to believe that the one you took here means anything to you at all. So that all happened just yesterday. And today it's got, so much worse. Remember, Brown Mogotsi said that he was an MK operative from 1993 to 1995. Well, the Madlanga Commission had a few questions about that. The first one is, how is that possible, considering MK was disbanded in 1993, the year that you allegedly started, and then continued, although he does have a track record, Clan Mogotsi, apparently, of working beyond his beyond his contract of employment, considering his handler last time allegedly passed away. Well, he did pass away in 2021, but it was allegedly his handler. And then the follow-up question was, so you were working for MK at 13, because you told us that you were born in 1979, again under oath, and Brown Mogotsi said, no, I was born in 1977, actually. This guy. This guy, they also talked about how his foundation submitted legal documents that had clear lies in them. And how did he account for that, considering this is now another piece of evidence of him lying under oath? And he said, those documents were compiled by the lawyers. Well, yes, but they have to be signed off by you, the head of your foundation, before they end up in court and could be considered lying and perjuring under oath. It is absolutely insane how dishonest and consistently dishonest he has been, and how touched he is getting when it's pointed out to him that he is lying constantly. And Madlanga said to him just this morning, Madlanga said, an oath is meaningless to you, and I have no reason to believe that the one you took here means anything to you. And he's right. He is absolutely right. The reason, though, why we have to care so much about what he says is that it's his WhatsApps with Matlanga and his messages with the now suspended police minister on Signal, which are so key to understanding how the alleged Big Five drug cartel lords are connected to even a close ally of Cyril Ramaphosa and the now suspended police minister.
It's also important to say that this is not a game.
Yeah.
Like, Mogotsi is not just saying stuff for the sake of saying stuff. There will be real consequences for this. So Karen Morn was describing this morning about how this could lead to perjury charges from anyone. I think she said a political party is well within their right, or whatever political party that is implicated in this, presumably the ANC, or the most likely is the ANC, could take him to court for perjury. And the Madlanga Commission can recommend in their findings
a court case against him.
A court case against him
charges.
for, I presume, like defeating the ends of justice or something to that effect.
Oh, he's defeated so many ends of so many things.
One more highlight I just want to bring forward is that, like, they're discussing the fact that an enormous sum of money was sent, seemingly from Matlanga, to Mogotsi's fiance or wife's travel agency.
Yes.
And he said, well, I have nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Okay.
How? How is it possible? How is that even possible?
Yeah, my follow-up would have been, can we get your wife's phone to see her texts between her and Matlanga? Because what else, like, what is going on here?
It's all funny, but like, this is like, I don't think he realized what he was getting into, that he wasn't, because he seems to be under the impression that it's like, I'm just making my statement. Yeah, I'm just telling my side of the story.
And he keeps saying to the Madlanga Commission, you need to help me and protect me. Yeah. And they're like, you need to go away at the end of this.
No, you need to come here and provide us substantial evidence for what you were saying. He does not seem to be under the impression that that's what he needs to do. He just needs to say his side of the story.
Yeah.
But he doesn't realize that this could get very, very real for him very fast. Like, he could face jail time for what he's doing now.
Unless, of course, he has a humiliation kink, as I've been saying.
But he would still go to jail.
No, I know. But maybe he is self-aware of what's happening. Maybe he does know exactly how the cookie is crumbling. Anyway, let's talk about the key line of questioning from Chaskalson today. So in December 2024, which ultimately ended in now suspended police minister Senzo Mchunu moving to try and disband the PKTT, the Provincial Killings Task Team, Mogotsi was WhatsApping and Matlanga, and he was sending Signal messages, which is a highly encrypted messaging service. In fact, it is the WhatsApp for drug dealers and criminals around the world, because it's the most encrypted and hardest to dig into, which again makes you then immediately ask, why has he chosen Signal to chat with Senzo Mchunu versus, say, WhatsApp, which he's using for Matlanga? And just a moment for Matlanga, maybe you also should have been using Signal, bro. Maybe. Too late for that, but maybe. So Mogotsi is messaging both of them at pretty much the same time, pretty much overlapping. There are phone calls going between the two of them. And Chaskalson brings up this moment on the 23rd of December when Mogotsi says to Senzo Mchunu, we've got a breakthrough. And thank you again to Karen Morn for the phenomenal live text reporting of this blow by blow as it happens. Exactly the same time, he was messaging Matlanga about an IPID guy. Now, that's the Special Investigations Directorate within the police. And Mogotsi says that they're not related. They're not connected at all. Then, just 30 minutes later, Senzo Mchunu calls Brown Mogotsi twice. We don't exactly know what happened. That afternoon, Mchunu called Mogotsi, and 7 messages later, Mogotsi told Kat Matlala that he had asked Kat Matlala whether he had news from IPID. And Chaskalson says, why were you so anxious to get IPID news from Mr. Matlala? Was it because you didn't want to disappoint the minister? And Mogotsi said, no. He actually wanted to know about Matlala's contact with an IPID, not the police minister, Senzo Mchunu. Why? Why, if you're texting and taking calls from them both at the same time, what is the likelihood that they're not related? Then Chaskalson says, you may have been told that there are grounds to arrest the PKTT for allegedly assaulting Mr. Matlala when they arrested him earlier in December, and you may have reported that to the minister as the breakthrough. And then Mogotsi said, but why would I tell the minister that? Okay. I mean, that is technically a question. Congratulations on asking technically a question. And then Mogotsi complained because he said the signal message that they were showing from his WhatsApp messaging correspondence that he sent to Kat Matlala, screenshot from his signal message with the police minister, Mogotsi claimed that the message was obscured. And so, like, the display was missing something. And then Chaskalson said, yes, it's your screenshot. We didn't obscure it. This is just the screenshot that we have. And now, conveniently, Brown Mogotsi says he can't access his signal chats now, so he can't go back and find in real time what the message is. Then Chaskalson delivers his bomb joke. Were you very anxious to find out about the IPID guy because you wanted to give the minister a Christmas present? Mogotsi's lawyers chuckle, humiliating and deeply hilarious. And then, on Christmas Day, Brown Mogotsi sent Matlala a message saying that IPID can be a breakthrough, which is the same wording as what he used in his messages with Senzo Mchunu. And then Chaskalson goes on to point out that Brown Mogotsi keeps using wording and phrasing about the arrest and affecting the arrest and IPID that Mchunu has been using in formal procedures, and that he's been using them with Mchunu, Mogotsi has, and same with Kat Matlala. Mogotsi again says that this is a total coincidence. And then Chaskalson says, it's absolutely clear from the chats that what you and the minister were discussing around Christmas was the possible arrest of PKTT members by IPID in relation to the events during the December operation at Mr. Matlala's house. And Mogotsi just says no. He just wanted to know for kind of his own vibes. And then Chaskalson says that Mogotsi's version here is, quote, transparently false. What they're teasing out here is that Brown Mogotsi can't provide a sensible, legal, non-criminal explanation for his go-between Kat Matlala and the police minister. His own alibi is not checking out. The alibi that maybe potentially he was trying to extract information from Kat Matlala to hand over to Senzo Mchunu. In fact, the far more likely and reasonable explanation is that he is letting Kat Matlala know that he is speaking with the police minister and others to ensure that the charges, the investigations, the move by the PKTT against Kat Matlala and others is being dealt with, is being stopped and being stymied. And it is brutal to watch. It really is brutal to watch the level to which he is just being destroyed. And I have to say again, and I said this yesterday, I can't believe he has legal counsel. But this is really important work from Chaskalson so that we can understand, and the Madlanga Commission, so that we can all understand the extent to which Brown Mogotsi is reliable or not, has an explanation or not, so that we can better understand the context and the significance of this key evidence in this entire investigation, which are the WhatsApps between Brown Mogotsi and Kat Matlala, and of course the signal chats between Mogotsi and Mchunu, as revealed in those WhatsApps, because Mogotsi was relaying them back to Kat Matlala.
In defense of...
Careful.
What?
In defense of whom? Whomst?
In defense of Mogotsi's legal counsel.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to say Mogotsi.
No. That is, we're well past that.
Yeah.
To play devil's advocate, Mogotsi does not strike me as someone who listens to people's advice.
Yeah.
So I can imagine those lawyers are probably, I imagine the reason why they started laughing, they were just like,
oh man.
Yeah, fair. I was just like, yeah, we gave him advice. He's not listening. It is what it is. But this, I think, could be a good thing or a bad thing for the Matlalas and Mchunus and them. Because on the one hand, it could be a disaster for them that they've been implicated in such a way, and Mogotsi has been such a disaster for their side of the like anti-Mkhwanazi camp. But on the other hand, they can just go, Mogotsi is clearly unreliable.
Yeah.
And anything that he has said or claimed against us should be dismissed.
Totally.
So, yeah, I think if they play it right, there is a way that they can spin this for themselves.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the WhatsApp messages are so damning. This is
No,
just
they are.
coloring in the mess around it.
They are, but it at least muddies the water a little bit in terms of the implications against them.
Maybe. I don't think so. I think it's too damning. I think it's just what they've shown is that Mogotsi doesn't have a reasonable explanation besides the criminal one for why he was sending those messages. And it it just colors in why these messages were going back and forth. Yeah, it's such a mess.